In this tutorial, I'll show you 2 ways you can add your voice to your laser cut projects. Method 1 will utilize an online software called Waveformer. This online app takes an audio file and converts it into waveforms that you can download as an SVG. Method 2 uses Audacity to save your recording as a PDF. Let's check out how both of these work. The first step is to make an audio recording. You can do this by using a voice memo program on your cell phone and then sending the recording to yourself, or you can use Audacity to record yourself. This is Audacity. If using Audacity, you will need to download it and install it onto your computer. Let's go ahead and record using Audacity. Hello there, friend. I now have a recording of my voice. I'm going to export it as an MP3. Once you have your audio recording, we need to convert the sound into a visual representation. Method 1 is Waveformer. Let's see how that works. So I'm here at the Waveformer website, and I'm going to choose an audio file. I saved my hello friend in Audacity from an MP3, but I could have also sent it to myself from a voice memo on my phone. I hit open, and then it asked me to play. So it plays my audio once, and then I can save it as an SVG. It's that simple. The other thing you might notice is this amount of detail. So if I go ahead and change that and make it lower, you see that my lines here, I get a lot less of them, and it's hard to even see. It just looks like dots. So because I'm just saying a simple phrase, I want a lot of detail. But if I were saying a poem or like a speech, you might want less detail. So I'm just going to hit Save as SVG now, and it downloads that to my computer. Method 2 uses Audacity to save your audio file as a PDF. Let's check that out. So here's my audio wave, Hello Friend, that we had recorded, and we'd already exported it as an MP3. But that's an audio file, and I want this to be something visual. So we're going up to File and Print. And we don't actually want to print this. What we want to do is over here in the settings, go to PDF and save it as a PDF. And then I'm going to rename it. I'm saving it to my desktop. Whether you used Waveformer or Audacity, the next step is to import your file, either an SVG or a PDF, into Gravit and begin editing it for laser cutting. So we'll create our document, 16 by 12 inches, and go up to File, Import, Place Image. I'm going to grab my PDF first. That is from Audacity. And it came in, and there's a lot of stuff here. You can see Hello Friend is a group. I'm just going to lock that right now. I'm going to go ahead and import my SVG file from Waveformer. So you can see that that is very different. They both need some edit work. So let's look at the Waveformer design first. I'm going to turn the eye off of the PDF. This waveform is also a group, so we're going to ungroup this object. You might need to do it several times. Looks like there's lots of groups. So this group is the black. It looks like I just deleted everything, but this group are my individual paths of my audio file. So I'm going to come in here inside my group. I'm going to select all of the paths. There's a lot of them. And instead of giving it a border of white, I'm going to give it a border of black. Now I can see it. And again, depending on what you are looking for, you might decide that it's too thick, or you don't like how it's rounded. You might want to get rid of all of this extraneous lines. So let's start with that. I'm going to go up to my group. I'm going to ungroup it. That way I can come in and select some of those silent lines and delete them. So now I have my recording again. And if I really didn't want any of this, I would get rid of it, but I kind of want it because it gives it a little bit more of something to look at. So I'm going to select it all again. And I have a fill and a border. And I'm going to look at the border options here. And over here, when I do that, I can change the position of the border. Maybe I want them centered, so it's a little bit less thick. Maybe I don't want them rounded, and I want it an end joint. Can certainly see how changing if it has an end point or not. Yeah, you can play with all of this and see what happens if we're not giving arrows to any of them, but just maybe the positioning of stuff. So that border, now that it's in the center, 2.2, maybe bump that up to 5. Oh, definitely not 5. It's a little too hard to see. Maybe 3. Again, it depends on the look you're going for. If you want them to look like it's connected, then maybe you do want a thicker border. But if you want to keep them separate, that is fine too. So with them all selected like this, I'm going to group them again. And I'm going to rename this group, this was Waveform. And then we can look at our PDF. Okay, so our PDF has a gray background and some numbers up here. So we're going to ungroup just like we did with the Waveformer. And there's a lot of paths here. So I'm first going to start by selecting the top here and just hitting delete. Now that has left me with still a lot of paths, but just our audio selection here. So what I think I'm going to do is this line that runs through the center of it, I'm going to delete. And it did get rid of some of this blue, but that's okay because I don't want all of the silence. Just like with the Waveformer file, I'm going to get rid of some of the beginning silence and some of the end silence. Now with the rest of my audio, I see that it has a border that's blue, and I'm going to change that blue to black so it can be engraved. With these selected, I'm going to group them now back together. And I'm going to rename this group Audacity. And I will lock it. And so now you can see the difference between the two a little bit more clearly. Again, depending on what you're doing, Audacity is great for engraving. All the lines are connected. Waveformer is also great for engraving, but you could possibly use it for cutting out the individual lines here. So what I'm going to do is create my keychain again, and then these engravings will go on my keychain. So I'm going to have a rectangle that is a height of 1 and a width of 3. I'm going to round my corners and get rid of the fill, add a border of red, add my hole for a keychain, and we will make that 0.25. Again, get rid of the fill, add a border of red, and then I can move that to the center. There we go. And now I can grab one of my audio files. Let's use the Audacity one. Grab the whole thing. And I can bring it right in here onto my keychain. Now it's a little too tall, so I'm going to change that to be 0.75. And I can move it. And it's a little too long still. Let's make this 2, just 2. Yeah. So now I have a keychain that has an audio file, my voice on it. And if I wanted, I could add text underneath it so I know what this was saying. I'm going to go ahead and replicate, copy and paste my keychain design, and then I'm going to grab my Waveformer file over here. And it is too long, so I'm going to lock that, and we'll make the width 2. Oh, maybe 2.3. Okay. Now you can see it's not very tall, but if I unlock it so that I am manipulating now just the height, I could make the height 0.75. And that will stretch it out, but it still keeps my waveform. And as you can see, when I smushed it together, my border, because it's smushed, it's now thicker. And so now my border's overlapping. And I don't know if I like how that looks with my blockiness. So I'm going to come back into my waveformer, and I will edit all of these paths. I have to select them all together. Go back to my borders. If I round them, I still don't think I like them rounded. Keep them end to end. Let's change this to 3. I'll make it 1. The 1's very light. Maybe 2. It looks a little thick. 1.5. There we go. So it's very light. There are little spaces in between. So our next step is to save this file, and then we can download it and submit it for fabrication. Remember to, when we save our files, we're using our naming convention. So your name, keychain V2, and material wood.